Okay, welcome back. I've now recorded my information in the spreadsheet. And now what we need to do is work through all the adjustments that we need to do. First one, we need to select cells A1 to D1. Let's try that again. Okay, we've done that. Click on home and we merge and center that. And then we need to make it uppercase, which we've already done because we've captured our information in uppercase. Then we must bold our characters and we need to make it 14 point. Okay. The next thing we've been asked to do is we need to type the telephone number and fax number in column C as indicated. As you can see, I've typed it out as they've required us to do. Then the next one we need to type, we need to merge and center the invoice, which is in cells A6 to D6. So A6 to D6, we again merge and center it. And we've got to make it bold and we need to underline it. Okay, you are most welcome to pause the video if you need to review and look at it again. So all you need to do is click on pause and then rewind a little bit and you can go back and see what I've done. But moving on to the next item, it then asks us to change the column widths of columns A, C, and D to 12. Okay, so we want to do A. We click on the column, we go to the, we can basically right click on that column. We go then down to column width and we set that column width as 12 by just typing 12 and hitting enter. So A, then we repeat that for columns C and D. Now as they're next to one another, I'm going to select both. I can right click on it, I go column width and I set the column width to 12. And it will set the individual columns to 12, okay? That takes care of that. Then it asks us to enter the customer telephone number in cell B12 as text. And the way that we've done that, if you look at my formula bar, you will see there's an apostrophe in front of the 021, because that will turn the text, the number into text. And therefore, that's how we capture telephone numbers within Microsoft Excel. All right. Then we've been asked to format the unit price data to display as currencies. Okay, so I've already done that, but effectively what you would need to do, you'd select the cells, you click on your numbering format, and then you can select currency. And as you can see, the sample will give you an idea of what it will look like, and then you click on OK. Okay, so now we've done that. And now we need to do some formulas. The first thing that it asks us to calculate is the total price, which is equal to the quantity multiplied by the unit price. So in this case, we need to go equals the quantity, which in this column is A17, multiplied by my unit price, which is C17. So I select those and I hit enter. Okay. I'll repeat that for the next cell. Equals A18 star, which is my multiplication sign, times C18, and I hit enter once I've done with my formula. Okay, and then what I can also do is I can use my autofill handle just to complete that formula, because it basically would copy that information that I've captured in my previous formula into the new one. Okay. So let's move along. Next thing we need to do, we need to create a subtotal, which is the sum of the total price of the three items. So we click in that cell over there, and all we have to do is click on our sum icon, and we click on the sum, the auto sum function, and we click on enter. Okay, so that gives us a subtotal there. Next calculation we need to do is VAT is equal to 15% of the subtotal. So we got to take, say, equals, and then we click on the cell that's the subtotal, multiplied by 15%, and then we hit enter. And last but not least, as far as the formulas are concerned, our total is equal to our subtotal plus our VAT, and that we just hit enter. Okay, so that gives us all the formulas that we needed to complete. The last thing to do, and I seem to have missed one instruction. Okay, sorry, apologies. I was supposed to have set column width for column B to 30. So I'm just going to right click on that column and set the column width to 30 and enter. Okay, so now all I need to now do is to place all the borders that we need in our activity. So as you can see in row 7, so I'm going to select that row, all the cells there, and I'm going to go to my borders tool, and I'm going to use my thick bottom tool, thick bottom border. Okay, and then similarly in row 13, I select cells A13 to D13, and I select my thick bottom border. Okay. The next one we need to put in is in row 20. And because we've already selected the thick bottom border, I can just click on the icon. All right. The last we need to do for the total view. And here we've been asked to then basically use the thick bottom border and the thick top border. Okay, so we can use top and thick bottom border for that one. Right, and that concludes our activity. So we can just then go in and insert our name and surname as a footer. And to do that, we go into page layout. We go into page setup. We go to header footer. And we're going to go to custom footer. Right, and on the left-hand side, we can put our name and surname in caps. And on the right-hand side, I'd like to put my activity number in there. So activity 1.50, click on OK. Click OK again. And then all we then have to do is save our activity. Go File, Save As. And you can save this on your student drive. Okay, I'm going to save it under my documents. Okay, and I'm going to call it activity 1.50 and sport for you invoice. Okay, and then we're done with that activity. Okay, we will now proceed and go on to activity 1.51. So we're basically going to go File, Close. And then we're selecting a new worksheet. So I'm going to pause the video and just type in the information as needed for activity 1.51 on page 161. See you shortly. Welcome back. What we've done now is I've completed capturing the information. Now we can move on to the instructions that have been given to us. All the adjustments we need to make. So the first one we need to do, we need to merge and center the main heading in A1 to D1. So we select cells A1 to D1. We merge and center that. And then we need to make it uppercase, which we've already captured as that. We need to make it bold, and it must be 14 point. Okay. But don't worry if it looks weird. We will adjust the column widths. The next one, we also need to merge and center the heading in row 2, which is A2 to D12, to D2. We select that, and we go merge and center. Once we've done that, we can continue, and then we need to make that 12 point. Apologies. All right. Now we've been asked to basically to change the font for the rest of the spreadsheet to Calibri 11 point. Okay, so the rest of the spreadsheet, we select that as Calibri. Okay, and we're making it 11 point. Got that? Then now we need to replace the question marks in cell B4 with the current year, which I've already done here. So I've made it July 2022, still coming up. So we basically then need to then move along and change the income and expenses, which is cells 6 and 15 respectively. We need to make them bold. So 6 and 15 we make bold. See? And then we need to indent the text. Okay, so we select the text that we need to indent, which is cells A8 to A10. So I'm going to select those, and the way we indent in Microsoft Excel, we're going into the indent tool over here. Alternatively, you can go into your alignment grouping. You click on there, and then you can see there's an indent here. So we can select 2 for a left indent. As you can see, it automatically selected it as the left indent. So we can then click OK there. That's the one way of doing it. I'll undo that one and show you using the shortcut key or the icon. So we can just increase the indent twice by clicking on this icon over here. Okay. So once we've done that, we can move along and draw the lines as indicated. And somewhere along the line, we need to adjust our column widths, which I have not seen yet. Okay, so I would suggest we actually do our column widths now, because we've already done the indentation and we've done no centering. So I'm going to go to column A, select my column, wait until I see the down line and the 2 arrows pointing to the sides. I double click on it. Similarly in column B, I'm going to increase that column width to what it needs to be. Similar with column C and column D. Okay. And then we can move along. We need to draw the lines as indicated, which is the only lines that we've been asked to draw is in cell D21, where they want us to draw in the top and double bottom border. Okay. Okay. So now we can put in the formulas as they appear on page 162. So our total is equal to my sold times, so equals number of units sold times by the price, and I hit enter. Okay. Similarly for the next one, also I can actually use my autofill handle because the formula for the next two is going to be exactly the same. So I wait until my white cross turns into the black cross like that, and I just drag it down. Okay. So once we've done that, we can calculate our total expenses. Sorry, first let's do for our total income. So we click on the cell D13 and we click on our auto sum function, and it automatically selects those rows above it, and we hit enter. So that gives us our total income there. And then similarly, we can calculate our total expenses by going to cell D19 and hitting our auto sum function and hit enter. Okay. And then last but not least, we need to calculate our profit or loss, which is the difference between the total income and the total expenses. So we go equals D13 minus D19 and we hit enter. Okay, so that gives our profit and loss there. And then last but not least, we need to format all the monetary values to display the currency with 2 decimal points. So we can select all the monetary values, which is cell C8 down to D21. So I'm going to select that whole area. And I'm going to go into my number grouping. And I'm going to select currency. And then I click OK. Okay, so that's now done. And then what we then need to do, we need to insert our name and surname as the header. Okay, so all I need to do is go page layout, page setup again, and I go into my header footer, and I'm going to put in a custom header. And on the left side, I'm going to put my name, surname, and on the right side, put my activity number, which is activity 1.51. I click OK again. And then all I need to do is then go save the document. I go File, Save As, and I go save it under my documents. And I'm going to call this activity 1.51 magazines income. Okay, save. Once we've done that, we can go File, Close, because we basically completed that activity. Okay, so for our next activity, we will pause the video while I tap in the new information in a brand new spreadsheet. See you shortly. Okay, now we've completed our capturing of our data, and we can proceed with our adjustments. Okay, the first thing we need to do, we've already typed our spreadsheet in Calibri 11 point. We need to use the text formatting features, bold, underline, full colors, etc. of our choice to make this spreadsheet more presentable. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I like to have my headings centered across my text. So I'm selecting that. So I'm deviating slightly from what the instruction says, but I believe it makes it look more presentable. Okay, so then I go to selecting that cells and I go merge and center. And as you can see, I've only captured January because the reason why is I wanted to show you that you can actually use your autofill handle to automatically fill in the months of February and March. Okay, because this is one of the defaults that Excel has. It's an auto list, so you can basically utilize that to fill your months. Okay, and the second deviation I've made is instead of just calling it balance in the bank, I've called it opening balance in the bank to help us with the activity later on. Okay, so our heading needs to be bold. So I'm going back there, just making it bold. Then row 3, I need to make all of those bold as well. Row 7, I need to make the heading bold. Similarly, in row 9, I'm making that heading bold. And then, of course, row 15. And last but not least, I've also made a change at the bottom, and I'm calling that closing balance in bank. Okay, and I'm making that bold. And then all I need to do is I'm going to go and change my column widths for column A and automatically increasing those. And once I've done that, I can then move along and do the necessary calculations that are in points on page 163. So for our total income for January, we go to cell B7 and we use our auto sum function. Okay, and we hit enter. Then we can copy that formula to March and February. So that one we can copy across to March and February by using our autofill handle. That's the one way we can do it, or I'm just going to undo that. Or the second way you can do it is by clicking on the copy icon and selecting the two cells you want to paste it on, and then we just click on paste. Okay, so that's the two ways of doing that. Next one we need to do, we need to calculate the balance. We need to also then do the sum of the expenditure. So in cell B15, we click on the auto sum and hit enter. And I'm going to use my autofill handle here just to fill in that formula across to February and March. Okay, so then to calculate the closing balance at the end of the month is in cell B17. So I'm going to go equals my total income for January minus my total expenses for January and hit enter. So that gives me my closing balance at the end of January. Now that's important because that closing balance in January will become my opening balance in February. So I'm just going to make my screen slightly smaller so you can see. Okay, so as you can see, so if I now go at the beginning of February, I'm going to make cell C4. I'm going to put in a formula there. I click on equals, and then I just click on cell B17, and I hit enter. So if there's any changes to the amounts in January, it will reflect in the February balance, opening balance. Okay, and I'm going to drag that across into March. So effectively, that is going to be looking up, and it's going to be looking up the closing balance at the end of February and putting it as the opening balance in March. So like I done previously with the other formulas, I'm just going to drag my closing balance in January across to February and March to give us our closing balances there. And then all we now need to do, we need to format all our monetary amounts by selecting all the monetary amounts, going to our number format, and we select currency, and we click OK. Okay, so now all we can then do is make our spreadsheet nice and bright and bold. And I'm going to do that very swiftly by selecting the area I want to change the coloring of. And then I click on my full color tool. And I'm going to use the light gold color there, yellow. And over here, make it green. Okay. Back to yellow over here. Expenditure, we can make a peachy color. Okay. Back to yellow over here. And then our closing balance, we can make almost like a bluish color for us. Okay. So then we make our spreadsheet look nice and presentable. And that's the conclusion of that activity, except for we need to put in our borders around the total income. So I select those and I go to my top and bottom border for that total income. And similarly for total expenditure, top and bottom border. And then for my closing balance, I'm going to use top and double bottom border. Okay, that concludes that activity. So all we need to do is go into our page layout, page setup, and we can put in our name and surname as a header. So we select the header footer and use custom header. And on the left-hand side, while my cap locks are on, type my name and surname. And on the right side, activity 1.52, click OK. OK again, and I go File, Save As. And I can save this under my documents. I'm calling it activity 1.52 home budget. And save. Okay, that concludes it for today's lessons. We will continue in the next videos with the next activities. Okay, see you soon. Bye.